What it mean to be the best? Riding foes, feeling unimpressed. Make me reminisce, throwing bows, bend the corner, set my mind up on a goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the goal. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
What's up? Welcome in to Tell the Truth, episode 86. Chiefs training camp has begun. Guys have put the pads on. It is 100 degrees and folks are fighting. And we are back to a little bit of football, man. Yours truly, DMac, DG, CJ. We do have a special guest to introduce. I'll get to him in just a second. DG, CJ, how you guys feeling, man?
Good, man. Went to the first day padded practice. It was hot.
He played it down. It was dumb hot. He played
It was
hot.
Smoking
out there.
Well, I was sweating just standing there. I can imagine how they feel.
Yeah. Underneath all them pads, that's crazy, man.
Absolutely. I'm sure it was. Obviously, somebody that knows a little bit about what that life is like, we're going to have on here. Appreciate that, Chuck. We are honored today to have somebody to talk about the Chiefs trenches, which I think is the key part of the team, certainly as we get started here, as the team is up there in St. Joe. We are talking about an 8-year NFL veteran, the second-round pick of your Kansas City Chiefs back out of the 2012 NFL draft. Started over 40 games here in Kansas City for the home team. You guys know him well as a cookie expert as well, Mr. Jeff Allen. Welcome in.
Man, happy to be here, DMac, CG, CJ. Appreciate y'all having me, man. I know all about camp. I don't miss it. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's thanks.
Absolutely. I'm sure you watched the Josh Simmons and Ashton Gelati, scuffle, and we're like, yeah, I know what it feels like to be out there for the third straight day in pads. And
yeah, without a doubt. But that's a little bit of youth for them. They're young. It's early in camp. Usually you get irritated as it gets later in camp, but they started it early. They're young guys. So I get it.
I feel like we see that with Kelsey every single year, like as it gets further into camp, and then that's when the irritation starts showing up.
Yeah, definitely doing the same thing over and over. You're ready to get back to your bed. I mean, it's a necessary evil. That's the way we look at it. You obviously got to do camp. It's something that gets you ready for the season. It builds callous. But, I mean, you living in a dorm. You're sharing a bathroom, not the greatest mattress, but it definitely builds team camaraderie. So can't complain about it too much, but it isn't the easiest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, better than any of us how demanding that Andy Reid training camp can certainly be. I know what he asks of his players, but the proof is in the pudding and how it sets them up for a fast start to the year every single year. So once again, happy to have you here. Obviously, last time you were on Kingdom Cast, talked a little bit about kind of the rookie class back then, which was Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, of course, that were coming in to have starting jobs within Kansas City. And that was kind of during the summer. And you certainly made some predictions, which we certainly sent that clip out because it was a prescient, kind of prediction as far as Trey Smith greatness was concerned. So obviously we are now 3 years into the future in which both of these players have established themselves as cornerstones for the Kansas City Chiefs. And they have gotten paid as such, Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, with, market resetting deals at their respective positions. Obviously, you talk about both of them. Trey Smith has, a little bit of a different journey. Obviously, you talked about kind of the pre-draft process that had him slide down boards. Creed Humphrey obviously taking the second round, such as yourself. Talk a little bit about, obviously, the excellency that you've seen from these two young players and also just their progression since they've gotten to the league to this point.
I mean, they've always played beyond their years. I mean, their rookie year, it wasn't really a rookie year. They stepped right in, stepped right up. I know Veach, obviously, he scouted them. He saw potential in the future, but I don't even think he could have predicted what they would be immediately. Obviously, they've gotten better year in and year out. The leadership aspect from Creed, Trey, they're bringing guys along with them with the physicality. That was the first time that I saw that the tone was set by a rookie in the history of an offensive line when Trey immediately came in with the way that he plays, and he continues to do that. So it's a good trait to have for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. CJ and DG, obviously Creed and Trey, that we've talked about the cornerstones of this, but something that I think we've heard kind of hearing from talk recently is more about them and their progression and their taking the ownership and leadership. I think of that offensive line room and them trying to pass things down to obviously the younger guys in that room as well. So like you guys have heard them obviously talking in the training camp and seen them out there at practice. Like talk a little bit about, some them stepping up into those leadership roles and how you guys feel like it's a good thing to see.
Yeah, it just shows the maturation process for both of those guys over the years and how far they've come from their perspective or their rookie years, how much they've learned and how quickly they've had to learn. I'm speaking to Jeff. I obviously he knows how complicated Andy Reid's offense really is. So to be able to be already at Creed being already at a level of being arguably the best in the game. And Trey, working his way to that point too. It just shows those guys are dedicated to their craft, dedicated to what to winning, dedicated to learning every day, and they just trying to get to this point where they're passing that on now. So it's great to see leadership. As always, it can only help, especially with the younger guys like Kingsley and Josh Simmons and those guys coming, even with the new guys coming in like Jalen Moore. So. I'm glad to see them guys taking on that role to do that because, some players in this league, maybe aren't willing to do so. So, but just glad to see them doing that.
No, absolutely. You could tell those two guys are the leader in the room for sure because just watching the drills, Jeff, every drill, every rep they were doing, Trey and Creed, the first one's up. First one's at the top when they're doing one-on-ones, maybe doing individual. Try the pads get a little popper whenever Trey's going at it with Chris. So it's always a good time to see those two going at it. But you could tell those two are the ones that set the tone for the whole room. When they get going, their energy, it's infectious. When they're having a good day, usually the offense is having a good day as well. So you could definitely tell they're the leaders of the offense for sure.
And one question I did want to ask specifically before we move on to some of the other members of that line. Jeff, obviously you played on the interior for the majority of your career. Trey Smith is somebody that I feel like has always been maybe underrated in the aspect of how, high level of a weapon in the run game he really has, the physicality, as you said, the tone setting ability that he brings to the table. Speak about some of the, I guess, in detail aspects of being a guard in that position in Andy Reid's offense as well, to be able to be that level of weapon in the run game to set the tone and what it allows for a play caller and an offense to do in general from the run aspect.
I mean, it's in all aspects. It's not just the run game, but in particularly in the run game, you need to move the line of scrimmage. We run a lot of the gun, so even if it's mid zone, inside zone, everything's hitting that A and B gap. Even when we're running that outside zone, typically Pacheco, whoever the running back is, he cuts back into backside, or it's going to be in the A or B gap. So having guys that are stout, that can move guys off the line of scrimmage like Creed and Trey, they make a living with that. They do a good job of opening holes, and Trey is the king of power. When he pulls around, linebackers jump out the way. That's something that is an advantage. If you don't have to block a guy, he jumps out, he creates a huge gap. It helps a ton in the run game. It helps a ton for the running back to be able to have his vision and see a gap open up that fast. So it's definitely a weapon. If it was Madden, I would put an X underneath him. In the pass game, all three guys, I know Tooney's gone now, so we got to figure out the left guard position. But over the years, no matter who the guys have been, and the interior has always been stout and creating that depth of the pocket, allowing Patrick to step up. I know we've had some struggle with the tackles. Helps a ton when you have an interior that's really good, so those guys can get run by and Pack and step up.
Yeah, absolutely. See, DG, did you have anything to add on that? I didn't know if you were about to say something real quick.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm listening. I'm absorbing right now.
That's great. They set the tone, man.
I'm definitely glad that you mentioned kind of the cutback aspect of it, because I think that people maybe will see the shotgun run game and be like, does it really provide opportunities for offensive linemen to show their stuff? But if you have guys that are displacing people on a consistent basis, it allows for the running back to have multiple paths and to make sure that even if the defense over pursues, there's still a hole there to be taken advantage of. So, yeah, Trey Smith is absolutely that X factor weapon that you talk about in Madden that is key as far as the run game.
And DMac, Jeff, I don't mind the shotgun runs. And DMac and DG know me. I played tight end when I was in school. It's the timing of when we run it out of the gun. I don't mind.
Yeah. No, I'm in agreement with you. I mean, Typically, offensive linemen would like to run from under center.
You feel me? See, Jeff?
It clears things up a lot faster for us.
Easy picture.
It's a lot more downhill. But I do get why they run out of the gun. You have to make things look the same. We pass a lot of the gun. If you aren't running out the gun, then
Giving out
and guys get tendencies, and then that's why they do it in the RPO game and all of that. But I agree with you. In such situations, we need to get under center and just go downhill.
Well, I ain't crazy.
How tough of Jeff? How tough of an adjustment was that? Obviously, I don't know. Obviously, when you came in before, but how tough of an adjustment was that from switching to kind of maybe more running underneath center and then switching to running out of the gun when you first got with the Chiefs and Andy Reid?
Well, I mean, you have to be aware of the play calls in the huddle. You have to listen to the full length of the play call so you can understand if it's in the gun, if it's under. It changes your path. It changes your steps. Under center, a mid zone, it's a little bit more wide of an angle versus if it's in the gun. When the running back's offset, he's going to naturally run more downhill, even if it's a mid zone call, and it's going to be more of an inside zone step. So you have to be aware of that as an offensive lineman. But running out of the gun gives you more opportunity to have double teams. It gives you more opportunity from the interior standpoint to displace guys because you can work on that down guy a little bit longer. But if you aren't good with timing, you may not get to that second level, and then you don't have an opportunity to make that play up there.
Interesting. We like to nerd out about kind of the details of the game, so I have to go off script a little bit by asking this question.
No, those are good questions.
Yeah, the Trey Smith aspect of his specific power in the run game, obviously he's a really good athlete all around regardless, and it's not like, it's a difference between the zone of his effectiveness from that standpoint. But do you think that the weaponization of that power in some aspects maybe is lost in the scheme, maybe not necessarily being as heavy on the man or gap compared to the zone, shotgun runs that we choose to in the Andy Reid offense?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Trey's he's an unbelievable player, all Pro Bowl type of guy. But I do think his strength is gap, power type game. He's an enforcer. He moves people at will. And I think he would prefer to run that. But, I mean, from the team standpoint, our identity has always been zone. There's always been RPO. It's always been almost a running gun type of offense. Not much power to it, kind of finesse. So Trey can do it all. Even with the finesse stuff, he makes it look powerful. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I think that one thing is that there are times in which we can get frustrated about the scheme and things of that nature, but ultimately Andy Reid kind of finds the balance when it needs to. And I think the 2023 playoffs were a really good example of it, kind of when somebody needed to end some of those games when they would just line up and run it with Pacheco. They had no problem running some of those power aspects.
And I would say, I don't know what the stats are, but over the last couple of years, he's run the ball a lot more often. And I know that's a personnel thing. I know we didn't have some of the weapons on the outside that we typically had in the past. So he leaned a little bit more in the run game. And I was glad to see that. I hope we implement that a little bit more. It opens things up. I would love to see back in the past, if you go back and look at Alex Smith, we did a lot of things from under center. And we did a lot of play action, a lot of throwbacks, and a lot of different things that opened up the middle of the field that we don't do as much anymore. I think Pat could benefit from that. Even though he's the greatest quarterback of all time, I think it will be a lot of easy reads and easy throws, and we could take some shots.
See, Jeff think like me, boy. See, I'll be saying that. I'll be telling you, under center, make a job. Y'all listen to me, Jeff.
Hey, man, when Jamal Charles was having, 1,500, 1,600, 1,700 all-purpose scrimmage yards, man, those are some excellent Chiefs offenses, obviously designed a little bit different than Alex Smith running under center as well. So kind of speaking a little bit towards now the younger guys, as far as those guys that Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey now being able to mentor. The biggest day one kind of storyline that has come out of Chiefs camp and has continued, obviously, as the pads have now come on. Josh Simmons has felt entrenched at the left tackle spot. No rotating, been there since day one, obviously fully healthy, fully go. No restrictions as far as team practice is concerned. Obviously, we've seen the clips, him showing off the agility, the strength in his lower half and his upper body, and the technique aspect of it. Obviously, I just want to start with your evaluation of him coming out in the draft and where you maybe had him stacked up with other tackles as far as Will Campbell, Kelvin Banks, etc. And then obviously him now being healthy and what you feel like he can do for the Chiefs moving forward.
Coming into the draft, I didn't really watch him during his career. Like I was able to watch Trey a lot. I was watching a lot of college football. I knew everything about him. He is who he is. With Simmons, I know he's out last year with an injury. Didn't really see him play much, but looking at his tape heading to the draft, he is the most talented tackle in my opinion. And those intangibles and those characteristics and those physical capabilities from a biomechanical standpoint are things that you can't teach. The way that he bends, the ease of movement, and it looks really easy for him. That's not easy to do. Take it from a guy who's done it. He just makes it look really efficient, and that's something that with or without pads, you can see immediately. I tweeted about it before they even put on pads. This guy's going to be an all-pro, and I 100% mean that. Not to say he's not going to have any struggles. He's a rookie. He'll have some struggles, but when he finds that consistency and he hits his stride, there won't be very many tackles in this league that are better than him. I'm not talking about rookies. I'm talking about in the entire league.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see it. He has pure power. He stonewalls guys. Usually when a defensive end bull rushes you, you give a little bit. This guy immediately stalemates him.
Mm-hmm.
You can't teach that. That is just a natural ability. And Andy Heck's a great coach, but don't fix anything.
that man looks ready to go from day one.
Let him be great and let him do his thing. He's a generational type of guy, in my opinion. And the sky's the limit.
I told him just during the draft process, this is the most excited I've been about a tackle probably since Wars coming out of Iowa.
No, I mean, he looks better. I mean,
I think he's better than him for sure.
I do. I mean, I look at a lot of tape, and there's not many guys that move like him. Trent Williams is a guy that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you can go look at some clips from training camp. He's been in some awkward positions, right? Because you can kind of see from a mental standpoint, he's kind of thinking, and maybe he gets off kilter and his feet gets flipped, but he recovers so fast. It's like this guy's gonna figure it out no matter what. So that's a unique ability.
Yeah, and that's the thing that really struck me. Like, you understand that guys coming into the league, obviously you see the level of talent that he is, and I agree with you, the most talented tackle as far as this draft class was concerned. But there are times in which you see those reps in which he gets guys early and he gets his hands on them and it's locked up, and that's the end of the rep. But even the fact that even when it feels like he maybe gets surprised or just beat a little bit because the power gets to his chest a little bit quicker, his anchor is immediate. The way in which he was able to shut those reps down as well. So to have that recoverability is special, and it allows you to feel good about what that left tackle position in a way that I would say maybe you haven't felt, I would say certainly to this level ever since Fish, unfortunately had to get cut at the end of that season. And certainly anywhere close to how you felt about that position last year.
Well, they'll finally be able to leave him on the island. And Andy would prefer to leave his left tackle on the island. That's going to – a lot of people – I mean, I'm sure you guys know, you guys are football guys, but from a normal fan perspective, guys that don't look in depth into the game, that is a weapon in itself. That allows you to get the back out more often. The tight end gets an extra guy in the route. It gives you more opportunity to make big plays and convert in big situations. So that is a huge pickup for Veach. I'm excited to see what he does when it's real time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a massive one. And like you said, Andy likes to get 5 guys out into the pattern, and he likes to use all 5 of his weapons that are at his disposal as well. The ability to be able to move these guys all over the field and feel confident in that left tackle position is a massive key for what Reed wants to do as well. And DG and CJ, we talk about this as far as athleticism at the position and what that can really provide you as an advantage. Like, the screen game is something that we feel like, can get re-emphasized when you have that level of athleticism. We talked a lot about this. We thought Suamataia maybe bring into that table, but a guy with Josh Simmons' polish as well brings that athleticism too. So what's the most exciting aspect, DG and CJ, you guys are with Josh Simmons seeming to be, in position to be the left tackle in the future?
Go ahead, CJ.
Most exciting thing, probably what Jeff said, just being able to leave him on that island. That's just like a game changer, because now you're allowed to have more screen game. You guys more one-on-ones. If you need help on the right side, you can slide your protection away from him. Like Jeff said, you can leave him on the island. You can go out there and handle his business. So I think that changes everything. It gives you that extra second in the pocket to make plays. We can be more explosive throwing the ball down the field. get back to having those 20-plus yard plays we've been lacking the last couple of years, and we can get back to scoring 30-plus points a game like we're used to. So it just changes everything to give you so many more options in your offense to do. You're not limiting yourself when you're calling your game plan. You don't have to worry about chipping or sliding towards him. You kind of let him do his thing on the other side, especially when you're playing all the elite rushers we're going to see in the season.
Yeah. I think the most exciting thing I seen, especially when we were out there on Sunday, was just his feet. How well he moves his feet.
Hey, quick, boy.
Yeah, it's a blessing to see, especially with the struggles that you've kind of had over the last couple of years with at the offensive tackle position and that athleticism. So now I know it gives Andy Reid a full bag of tricks that he can work with, knowing that he's confident with a guy that's athletic enough to hold his own on that end, especially with his feet. I also think the nastiness, man, seeing that clip with him and Gelati the other day, that lets me know everything I need to know. I don't think 15 is getting touched anytime soon. And if he is, Josh Simmons is definitely going to let people know about it and protect his quarterback. So I was highly impressed with that as well too. So I think those two things are awesome to see, and especially in a young guy like him.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk about kind of the protector aspect. I think he said in his first press conference he's Patrick Mahomes' personal protector, and that's exactly what you want in a franchise left tackle moving forward. And I think you mentioned it as well, Jeff, kind of some of the instincts aspect of it. I noticed in one of the clips he was kind of just checking a little bit inside to see when Chris Jones was matched up with Kingsley, and then he got outside to Dana, and he did it effortlessly. That the fact that he could peek inside and do so, it's just he does everything that you want to see from a left tackle position, and the fact that he's coming in as a rookie, it's reminiscent of Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith as far as what those guys brought to the table from day one as well. So transitioning a little bit, obviously to his left side of the offensive line running mate here in Kingsley Suamataia, who obviously was drafted as a tackle out of BYU last year, did not work out for those first two games, pretty much left him on ice until week 18 in which he played left guard. I do want to ask you, Jeff, first and foremost, obviously you have experience about the transition from tackle to guard. You obviously at Illinois, you were all Big Ten playing at that tackle position on both sides of the ball, both sides of the line, I should say specifically.
Yeah.
Somebody that then made that transition inside of the NFL. Talk a bit about what that entails. What is that process? And, your confidence in Kingsley, who is a really good athlete for the position, being able to do that.
I'm definitely confident in him. I honestly think he's a natural tackle. He kind of got pulled early, and that's kind of the negative aspect of being on a really good team, right? Because they're in it to win it every year. It's Super Bowl or bust, so you don't have much time to really develop. I know they're working on development, but they moved on him really fast. But I do think Simmons is much better tackle than he is. So obviously you have to make the move inside. It's going to be completely different. I felt like I was a natural tackle, moved down to guard. It's a completely different mindset. You can be a little bit more finesse on the outside. You could play a mind game. It's like chess. You can flash your hands. You could play a little bit. Not inside. It's a fight. Every single play it happens now. Like there's no time to hesitate, and it's the quickest way to the quarterback. So you have to completely change your mindset and the way that you approach it. You have to have a really strong anchor, and you have to be confident. You can't miss. Tackle, you can miss and you can recover. Guard, there's no recovery. But in the same sense, you can use it to your advantage. Once you get a little bit more savvy and you understand the game, you have a concept of the offense, you can use your help a little bit. You can throw some change-ups here and there. And I feel like Kingsley is a good enough athlete that he'll be able to adapt to it, but he can't be too athletic. You get what I'm saying? Like I was a really good athlete, but I was moving way too fast when I first transitioned. I'm thinking that I'm playing tackle. I'm trying to be a really good athlete. I'm oversetting, getting beat underneath. I'm moving my feet too fast, too big of steps. Everything is small steps, feet in the ground, immediately start to fight. And once he changes his mindset and starts thinking like a tackle, he'll be fine.
Yeah, that's big time. Do you feel like it is a bigger aspect of the mental side of it? Like, do you feel like, is there anything from a physical standpoint? Obviously, the anchor obviously is more with bigger individuals when you talk about the interior. Like, do you feel like it's more of that mental than the physical? But obviously, that anchor is still a big portion of it.
I feel like it depends on who you are. I feel like for him, it's going to be more the mental because he has strength. He has the athleticism. He'll be able to deal with bigger guys. Andy Heck is one of the best offensive line coaches, in my opinion, especially when they're dealing with interior guys. So he'll get them up to speed. He just has to be ready. And the biggest thing from a physicality standpoint is you're dealing with a lot bigger guys, a lot more physical guys. They're not – I mean, the game has changed a lot. You got guys like Chris Jones who have power, but they also use their speed and use your weaknesses against you. But for the most part, these are bigger guys that are going to play into you. They're not trying to go around you. They're going to try to go through you. So he needs to get ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually pretty happy to see him in the way that he performed in that Week 18 game versus what is, one of the best front sevens in the National Football League in Denver. And I thought that he had some really good reps that we went over against Zach Allen, obviously. And he was showing off some of that anchor aspect of it. You can see maybe he's shaky at times, but still continuing to make progress as far as that was concerned as well. So I was excited about it. And the fact that he's kind of started off here in camp seems pretty good about that as well. And as you mentioned, obviously, Chris Jones, he's not going to see better interior defensive line competition than seeing 9-5 every single day, to say the least, in the combination of speed and power that he brings to the table. DG and CJ, how are you guys feeling about that transition for Kingsley now, moving into guard?
I think it's a little tough just because I agree with Jeff. I think that he got pulled a little too early as far as, from the tackle position last year, going up against I think is arguably one of the top 5 pass rushers in the league, and Trey Hendrickson. It's a tough task to ask a kid to go out there and just handle his own on the island with him. But yeah, man, I think for him, he's athletic enough to where they see the potential of where he could be on the inside as well too. And I think Jeff is right. Once he starts thinking like a guard instead of thinking like a tackle, which I think that the coaching staff can definitely get him to do. I think that the sky is the limit for him just off his athleticism and what he's able to do alone. I can't wait to see him on a pulling play, things that you get out in space and see what he can do. I know it's going to be awesome to see, and I know the running backs, Isaiah Pacheco, Bashar Smith, all of them are going to love it when they see 76 out there running in front of them.
No, I completely agree. I was going to say the exact same thing. Having 2 guards, that are athletic, like him and Trey, you can get them out in space and use them to pull, along with Josh as well. That changes everything, especially how much we love to use our backs in the screen game as well. So having guards and tackles who are athletic, you can get them out there is a game changer for us. We haven't had that in a while.
Yeah, and I think that athleticism is a big key. Obviously, mentioning the screen game, RPOs, those aspects of, and obviously the zone run game does emphasize the ability to use some of those cutoff blocks as well to get in front of defenders out of those gaps as well. So, yeah, that's a massive piece to obviously have that athleticism along the offensive line that's in a better place because Jalen Moore as well feels like he's backing up multiple of these spots in addition. And I think something that Jeff certainly alluded to, Andy Heck and his ability really to get interior offensive linemen to play up to that high level. I trust Kingsley Suamataia in his hands from that aspect as well. The only other thing that I kind of wanted to mention was the fact that Jalen Moore is now getting tried out at the interior spot and then also the tackle aspect of it. Obviously, Jeff, you did have some, versatility when you played throughout your career. Just as far as the process is concerned, being able to play both, juggling that aspect of it, as you mentioned, kind of the mental differences, is it really just hey, once I've had time in the league and been able to do so, then you feel comfortable going back and forth, or is there a little bit more to it from that standpoint?
I think as you grow throughout the league and you become a vet, you just get used to it. It's one of those things that it's like riding a bike. Once you've done it, you kind of have the tools to be able to do it continuously. I think early in my career, it was tough from a mental aspect. And I don't know why. I moved one spot over and then all of a sudden you don't know the playbook. Right? That's really crazy. But for a lot of guys, one of the biggest things that people have issues with is switching sides, not necessarily positions. Switching from left to right, I didn't really have that problem because we ran an offense in college where it was weak versus strength, so I would flip sides. But playing left versus right is a lot like trying to write with the opposite hand if you haven't done it before. So a lot of guys struggle with that versus switching positions.
Yeah, and that's why obviously we've seen Jalen Moore getting a lot of work rotating in with Juwan Taylor, right tackle, after Taylor came off of PUP for that first day of pads and taking a lot of those right tackle snaps to get that ability. Obviously, he played left tackle previously out there in San Francisco and now getting a little bit of work at left guard as well. Setting him up to be really the 6 offensive linemen, which I think, again, just really being really key to being able to help our depth, because last year we ran out of offensive linemen, specifically tackles in that sense as well. And Jeff, we did agree with you for the record. We all thought that Kingsley got pulled a little early last year.
Appreciate it.
As far as that was concerned, especially leaving him on an island in his second career game against Trey Hendrickson, and that not necessarily going.
It happened fast, man. And I know Joe had a really good stretch during the regular season at left tackle, but I was screaming from the mountaintops that he had no business being out there. He was able to do it, right? Serviceable, can get you through a pinch, but that shouldn't have been the move, in my opinion. But we made it to the Super Bowl, and I don't think it would have went a different way even if we didn't have him out there.
Yeah, it probably would have been tough.
Got ugly for us,
to say the least. But we were advocates of going back to DJ if he was healthy at that point for the playoffs, or getting Joe back into that interior Elite 3. But that's his life, and now we move on to see if we can solidify that left side of the line with these next two young guys that are up here and improving themselves, I'll say, to start out to camp in St. Joe. So we're going to flip a little bit to the other side of the ball and talk about some of the defensive line trenches, because we have talked about, obviously, kind of the biggest thing for me, at least, looking at this team is, can you protect Patrick Mahomes a lot better than you did last year? And can you get after the passer a lot better than you did last year, specifically with that front four? I'll say the second biggest piece to that, exists in George Karlaftis, obviously 2022 first-round pick, just got his new deal. Has continued to improve as a pass rusher, really has solidified himself as a 3-down edge because of his ability to be really good against the run as well. Tell me your thoughts as far as George Karlaftis, and do you feel like there is even more that he can add to his game to reach a new ceiling as well?
Yeah, I think the number one skill or his superpower is effort. Mm-hmm. This guy never gives up. He has a motor. And he's going to constantly make plays from the backside. He's going to constantly get that sack if he gets the extra tick. Just the way that he plays the game. I do think from a mental standpoint, he'll just get more savvy. You can see that he's working with like Tom in the offseason. His hands will get better. He'll figure out ways to be more effective and efficient to get to the quarterback. And I think they'll put him in different positions to be able to do that. And not only that, surround him with the personnel. I love the rookie that they brought in. Seeing him in one-on-ones and seeing the way that he moves, I think he's going to take some pressure off of Chris because they won't be able to double him all the time. You got Mike Dana, who's always been consistent. He's been a guy that's come in and been able to rush the passer. But I think the more guys that you can get to do it, the better matchups we'll get across the line.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, we talked about the deal, DG and CJ, so I won't necessarily ask you guys about that again. But I will, kind of transition there because you did mention, obviously, Omarr Norman-Lott, who we have heard has been running with the ones. Got a little bit banged up after some encounters with what he called was a brick wall in Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey, which is understandable as well. A little bit of iron sharpening iron as far as that is concerned, with the rookie getting initiated from that aspect of it. But obviously, we were advocates of bringing him in because of the pass rushers that he can bring from the interior as well. We also heard that he maybe has bulked up a little bit as far as going up a few pounds and adding that to his frame to get ready to play on the interior in the NFL as well. So I'll start with Jeff on this, and I'll ask DG and CJ this. Like, as you look at Omarr Norman-Lott and what you think that he can bring to the interior, do you really feel like he can be that, running mate for Chris Jones and create that havoc? Because you think he's going to get a lot of one-on-ones from that aspect too?
100%. I think so. I think just going back and looking at the way he played at Tennessee, it was kind of odd the way that they used him. You would think he would have got more. Yeah. You would think that he would have been a consistent guy. But I would love to see him get more opportunities. And I think Kansas City will give it to him. I think he will get a lot of opportunity to hit one-on-ones because of Chris, and he'll shine because of it. He won't be the main guy, and he'll be able to learn on the fly. I think you should throw him right into the fire. Don't wait. Let him get this experience now, because we haven't had anybody in the last few years that has been a running mate for Chris that could consistently get to the passer. So let's see what he can do.
Yeah, absolutely. We identified that as a massive piece of this, and certainly glad that Omarr Norman-Lott is the guy that they pegged in the second round to be able to brought in to hopefully fulfill that role as well. DG and CJ, how you guys feeling about, Omarr Norman-Lott bulking up a little bit, and in addition, getting run with the ones on a consistent basis at camp?
Oh, I love it. We needed that juice in the edge or in the D tackle room, like Jeff said immediately. Because really, we had nobody next to Chris that can get to the quarterback with that kind of speed. So his height can low key be his advantage because he has natural leverage underneath guards and center. So I heard Charles talk about it today in the presser. He said he has the hand pressers that a lot of young guys didn't have first coming to the league. So he naturally uses that as a rookie. So I love hearing that because that's probably the one thing that I hear from most D linemen that I coach is using your hands most when young guys. So the fact that he has that early, that's going to help him out a lot. So, and like Jeff said, most of our rookies always hit their stride later on in the season after the bye once we get closer to November, December football. So he's getting these reps now. It's only going to make him better. Playing next to guys like Chris, playing against Creed and Trey. We have the best of the league on both sides of the ball. So all of our interior guys are going to do nothing but get better. So I love it for him.
Yeah, when you got vets already talking highly of you, I think you're doing something special.
Doing something right.
Definitely doing something right, especially with the praise that he got from Charles Omenihu about his hand usage and things of that nature. Like that goes to show me that you already got, the skills and the things and the tools that you need to be able to compete in this league early on. So for him to be able to line up to arguably one of the best defensive tackles we've ever seen in this game, I know it's going to be a fulfilling dream for him as well too. So just hope that he continues to absorb what he can absorb from those guys and gain as much knowledge as he can and goes out there and balls out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the thing I did want to ask Jeff, more of a kind of an overall perspective in his, experience. Was it more of those guys that are maybe a little bit undersized, but still had that speed and ability to get around you in the interior, or was the guys that just had overwhelming force and obviously were incredibly difficult to move in general? What was more frustrating sometimes for you to see as an interior offensive lineman?
Smaller guys, 100%. I mean, that's why Aaron Donald was so great.
I was just about to say that.
You win the leverage battle the moment you break the huddle. I mean, just by default. And not only that, he was an unbelievable player. He was smart, had a motor, and he understood the game from a cerebral standpoint that he would use everything against you. And I think that, Chris Jones does the same thing. He's just a bigger body. If he can get around Chris and learn the game and be a student of the game, he obviously has the physical capability. But if he understands the game and the nuances of it, and he could get reads before the snap, or he can hear something, or he can watch that extra film and get the extra step, he'll be a special player.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to see that he's going to be able to be under the wing of Chris Jones. And obviously, George Karlaftis mentioned it as well. Now, feeling like he's a cornerstone player and being able to hand it down, and how the Chiefs like to operate and how Steve Spagnuolo likes to have his defense operate on a day-to-day basis as well. Taking in those leadership roles, being able to pass it on as well. Charles Omenihu, a guy that's now been here for a few years, taking on that responsibility too. So that's great to hear. I will ask, again, speaking about how important it is for this defensive line for the Chiefs to really being able to raise their level as far as complementary pass rush around Chris Jones from where it was a season ago. Outside of obviously what we talked about, Omarr, Norman-Lott, we know what George Karlaftis is. We've got a few different guys at stages of the career, whether so Omenihu, 2 years removed from his major injury. Obviously, a young guy, Felix Uzomo, who's was a first-round pick 2 years ago, trying to prove himself as well. Mike Dana, his consistency. Ashton Gelati, who obviously was a third-round pick. Jerry Tillery, who's a veteran that now comes over from Minnesota last year. How do you feel about this defensive line as a package? And is there anyone specifically here that you think is ready to kind of step up outside of obviously what we talked about, Norman-Lott?
Well, I think the guy that got paid is going to have to step up. George just got the money. Now he's going to have to live up to it, and he has. But I think it's time for the next step to consistently, make those big-time plays and big-time moments. You look at those legacy moments for Chris Jones. I need George to have some more of those, and I need him to, get 13, 14 sacks. I think he has the same ability as Henderson, or what's his name? In
Henderson.
Yeah, I think he has similar ability. He just needs to add a little bit more to his tool belt. He has the same motor, the same finish. Just go get it.
Yeah, look, if you look at Trey Henderson's career, it was this year, as far as his fourth year, in which he really took a leap. And the previous 3 years were similar, if not a little bit behind, where George Karlaftis has already proven to be as far as his ability to get pressure, then also to finish those plays too. If he has that pathway, then certainly the money that George Karlaftis is getting paid is automatically going to be a steal from that standpoint as well. DG and CJ, anything from kind of training camp that stood out to you looking at this defensive line group specifically?
Oh man, they was just the first day it passed. They were just really getting after it. Love to see Charles Omeni, who looked healthy, looked like he was ready to go. It seems like this. I know it's really exciting time for him because I think this is probably the first full healthy offseason he's had in a while. So he looked great out there, was ready to compete. But that whole defensive line, man, they all look like they're ready to compete. Interesting to see when they first lined up. First padded practice, Mike Daniel was working kind of on the inside a little bit more than I had seen previously or whatever. So those were interesting things to see. But Spags has always got something up his sleeve that he's going to come with this season or whatever. There's going to be some kind of nuance. So, but yeah, it's exciting times for the defensive line. I think they got a lot of depth and a lot of guys that can really go out there and get after it.
I like the sense of urgency they played with. Like DG said, just the reps outside from Mike Dana. He had a little pep in his step more than I've seen the last couple of years. So, because a lot of guys are playing for money, like Charles Omeni, who's in a contract year. Omarr trying to prove himself. George obviously got paid. And he want to go out there and earn to show why he deserved that money. So, a lot of guys are trying to prove themselves for contracts down the line, whether it be in Kansas City or other organizations as well. So, I just love the urgency and the energy that everyone's going because everyone's know how big a year this is, not only for the team, but individually as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was, excited to see the Ashton Gelati, his ability to try and turn that corner. And I think that he brings a little bit of a unique skill set from that standpoint. And we'll see, obviously, how much he can get into the rotation. And you mentioned, obviously, Charles Omeni looking healthier. I think that also applies to Mike Dana because he was somebody that, really dealt with injury for the majority of last season. So hopefully, if we can have a healthy D-line rotation of those guys specifically, we can be in a good spot to be able to get after the quarterback a little bit more consistently than we did last year as well. So, Jeff, I did want to ask you kind of outside of, the trenches in which we had kind of discussed. Is there anything that from the first few days of camp, obviously, they're working on things, so people try and take away stuff from one-on-ones like the wide receiver cornerbacks or whatever. Is there anything outside of maybe the trenches that really caught your eye as you were, seeing some of these clips circulated or maybe some of the press conferences as well?
The receivers. I mean, I think Thornton, it's his name. I've been seeing him make some big-time plays, possession type of receiver, but it looks like he's getting open. And that's really important. He can run. That's important, especially with we don't know what's going to happen with Rice. So it's important to get somebody that can replace that production or at least step in and be serviceable for him. I like the rookie they brought in too, Royals. I haven't seen much of him in camp, but I do like his film from college. I think he is very similar to Rice as far as build, not as tall, but same type of build, physical guy that can get some yak. So we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll ask you guys, CJ and DG, how you guys feel about anything from training camp that's really caught your eye outside of, the trenches that we already discussed?
Bashard Smith. Y'all know I've been saying this since draft night. We haven't had this much speed since Dexter McCluster. We haven't had this much speed in the backfield for a long time. So I saw a clip of him today running past the linebacker doing one-on-one drills. So just having a weapon and a toy like that, Andy's already cooking up probably a whole Bible worth of plays for him. So I can only imagine how he's going to treat him in the red zone. Just having that speed aspect, somebody that could take a 20 to a 40, a 40 to a 50, he could take the ball to the crib from anywhere on the field. So we haven't had that type of explosion in the backfield in a long time. So that'll change everything, mainly for the running backs for sure, because we just need that pop back there.
I got a question. So it sounds like he's doing his thing right now. So who's going to be the odd man out in the running back room then?
We've had this in conversation.
We got Elijah Mitchell. We got Kareem. We got Pacheco. Andy only keeps 3 guys. I mean, I know we don't carry a fullback anymore, but traditionally there's 3 guys. So,
I mean, Elijah or Bashar, who y'all want?
I'm gonna go with the young guy. I'm gonna go with the young guy.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be fascinating because I could see a scenario in which he breaks mold and does try and keep all 4 of them. And because maybe he's not as confident for the Elijah Mitchell and him staying healthy from that aspect. But we've heard some things coming out of camp and the fact that he's been able to be really good, Elijah Mitchell, this is in pass protection and also running routes. And obviously we know the speed that he brings to the table. So I wouldn't be surprised if they kept all 4, but as you mentioned, Tyquan Thornton is pushing to make it so it's 6 wide receivers with Nico Remigio and an assumed Rashee Rice suspension. So how they end up juggling this is going to be very fascinating from that aspect. I want all 4 of them there just so I can feel comfortable with the Elijah Mitchell aspect and his injury history, and so that you can make sure that you can have the full complement of those plays. But going back to what you mentioned earlier, Jeff, being able to feel confident in Josh Simmons at left tackle, being able to get 5 guys out in the route allows you to do those really creative things, go into empty sets where you feel confident in the pass protection across all 5 guys as well. And that's a big key. It's going to be interesting to see as far as what the running back room ends up looking like. And obviously when we get to the games, then we get to see some separation too. DG, anything from camp that's really stood out to you?
I would say that watching Xavier Worthy in one-on-ones was exciting, especially the other day going out there in full pad. He was pretty much anybody that lined up against him, he couldn't touch him. So to see that his offseason work, you could clearly tell he's been working a lot on his route running, trying to get very more mature in those areas or whatever, and it's starting to really show. I think second year for him, he's obviously going to blossom. Prayers up to him for getting, healthy and back from the injury or whatever, from the concussion or whatever. So hopefully he gets back with a speedy recovery. But watching him the other day was exciting stuff, man. He's faster than he's fast. Like,
that Rasheed
he's probably
fastest
fastest.
That Rasheed suspension gonna be a blessing for Zay because he's gonna get even more targets now. He was leading us in targets like the last chunk of the season. He was getting like 8-10 plus a game. So Rasheed being out we're projected 4 to 6 games. That's gonna do nothing but help Zay's growth for sure. I love that.
Absolutely. More responsibility on Xavier Worthy's shoulders to say the least as well. Jeff, I did want to ask you, we got a few more questions before we go ahead and get on out of here. I did want to ask you just about going back to the trenches, just the offensive line in general. Obviously, this is a group that had the step backwards because of the struggle at left tackle and then having to move Joe Tooney outside and saying goodbye to him. A lot of the national media feels like this is a group that's going to take a step backwards in general. I think that they have the potential to kind of get back to being one of the best, offensive lines in general in the National Football League. What is your overall feeling as far as this group going into the season?
I agree with you. I think the biggest question mark is going to be, in my opinion, the left guard position. And we got the battle of right tackle. I have confidence in Taylor. I think this is a prove-it year for him. I mean, I don't know what the future holds for him in Kansas City, but his career is in the balance. And he's going to have to go out there and have a good year if he wants to, continue to make money in this league and be a starter. So I think he's going to show up. He understands what's at stake, and he's going to clean up those little things. And I think a lot of it's just, I know he's been here for a minute, but he has to understand like the type of quarterback that he's playing with, right? He's a big vertical setter that gets off the ball really fast, almost false starts. But what that does is that creates a big gap and a big void that allows the uppy under.
Yep.
And then he's so far up the field that he's allowing that defensive end to bend the corner right at the top of the pocket. So I think he's going to clean that up. He's going to be a little bit more physical at the top of his kick step, and they'll clean itself up. And then now you got the rookie, or whether it's more, I think it's going to be the rookie. I think it's going to be Kingsley. And I think he just has to be confident and have the belief in himself and got to shake it off. And I hope that he doesn't feel what happened last year happens this year, right? He has a little bit of struggle. He's going to get pulled. They're going to have to ride this out with him. So we'll see what happens.
Is that the biggest piece of advice you would give to Juwan, Jeff, or anything like mentally you would tell him?
Yeah, he's a veteran, man. He understands this. There's probably not much I can tell him that he doesn't already know. Yeah. I would say slow down a little bit, man. He's out there flying around, and it's cool to be that fast and athletic, but sometimes you got to be quick but not in a hurry, if that makes sense. Right? You got to have your feet. You got to have your feet in the ground. You got to be in the right position, and I think the small nuances and understanding every detail of the plays, right? Every single pass play has a different drop, right? Every single one. I think the more you can understand that as an offensive lineman, you can have a better plan of attack. If he knows Pat's going to be a 7 to 10 yard drop, why in the hell am I setting back so far, right? Exactly. Let me start the fight a little bit. It's a quick game. Let me go get after him. Change it up a little bit. It's a lot of the same thing over and over. And this league, defensive ends are going to eat that up. So I think he'll have a better plan this year, and it's a lot on the line for him.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you spoke to the mental aspect of it, because that was going to be my next question of kind of multiple different aspects and talk about kind of the importance of using those change-ups in the way in which you set and being able to keep defensive linemen off balance in the way in which they can attack you. And then a lot of people talk about other positions, whether it's quarterback or cornerback, and having a short memory, because those are positions that either you make a mistake and you got to immediately be on to the next play, or a quarterback where you can get beat by wide receivers and you just got to live with that and move on to the next play. That also exists as far as offensive linemen from that standpoint. So talk a little bit about that mental battle from the aspect of from the person across from you and those change-up aspects, and then also having a short memory and moving on from some of those tougher snaps.
From the change-up aspect, you got to use everything to your advantage. You're on offense, right? You're not the defensive player. You know exactly what's happening. Use it to your advantage. Make some fake calls. When you have an opportunity in the run game to impose your will, do that. When you have an opportunity to play action and make it look like run, do that. Right? Finish. Trey is a perfect example. Like, Trey isn't the greatest pass blocker, but he's so darn physical in everything that he does. It makes him a better pass blocker. Mm-hmm. Use your strengths and amplify them, and just slowly make your weaknesses better. Right? And like that's simple. And it truly, as an offensive lineman, there's only a handful of opportunities in a game where you're going to truly be one-on-one, unless you're the left tackle who's getting paid a ton of money to do that. Yep. But everybody else, they're only going to be 5-6 times in a game where you're truly one-on-one. Understand that. And when those opportunities come, win them. And when those other opportunities where you get help, use it to your advantage. Yeah. Like, it's just be a smart player. I think a lot of guys kind of get out there and the bullets start flying in real life action. They kind of forget what's going on. It's a tough game, but you can slow it down if you're a student of it.
Mm-hmm. And you talked about kind of the rhythm aspect of it. Obviously, there's the old adage of allowing the offensive lineman to get into the game and emphasizing the run early on so that they feel good about attacking the defensive line. Speak to a little bit of that mentality as well. You know, when you get into a game plan, maybe throughout the week, and you hear your offensive coach and be like, hey, we are going to try and establish this early on and make you guys feel good about it. Does that warm your heart when you're offensive lineman?
That's why I love playing for Andy Reid. And that's why I had my most success was playing with Andy Reid, because he was an offensive line guy. If you look at every single game, he scripts the first 15 plays of the game and the first 15 plays of the half. Mm-hmm. And that first 15, it's a very O-line friendly game plan. He's going to give you opportunities to run boots. He's going to give you opportunities to run some screens. He's going to give you opportunities to take some shots at the defensive line to kind of get laddered up for the rest of the game. Yep. And he's going to put you in a good position to be successful. And you will understand that. He may not say it, but I understand that, and I understood that as I got older. Oh, man, he's calling all this quick game. He's calling all these screens. He's calling these, downhill runs. He wants us to get into a groove and find some success early so we can be confident. Mm-hmm. And those guys need to take those opportunities, especially early in the game, to get off to a fast start. That does a ton from a mental aspect to the defense, right? If you go out there, you're flying around. That first drive, you go get a quick touchdown, and they feel defenseless or helpless. Right. That's going to carry out through the game. Talk a little bit of crap. I talked a lot of crap. It made me a lot better. I just talked a lot. They started breathing heavy. Mm-hmm. Tell them what's coming sometimes. Like, throw them off. I used to tell people exactly what was coming. Like, hey, we're running the screen right here. And we run it. There's no way he lying out there. We do it. And then you tell them something else, and you just have them guessing. You call a fake call. It's a game within a game, man. It's such a fun game, I think. And guys are so good. Everybody's good. It's the National Football League. Even the guys that aren't household names, they were the best of the best. They were all Americans. Yep. What's going to give you an edge? It is being a student of the game and playing chess. All the great quarterbacks. There's been a ton of quarterbacks that have had the physical capabilities, but the mental wasn't there. Mm-hmm. Right? It's the same with every other position. It's just not highlighted like a quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. And you had mentioned this when you were last on Kingdom Cast and talking about kind of Creed Humphrey and the mental aspect of it. Obviously, you played with a great center in Mitch Morse when you were here in Kansas City. Talk to me about kind of from the standpoint of Kingsley Suamataia coming into this guard position. How much does it help to have a guy at that center position who was the leader of the offensive line and being able to be confident in what you're getting from that center position on a consistent basis, playing at a guard spot?
Helps a ton. I got to play with two. I got Rodney Hudson, and then I went right to Rodney. I got to lean on Rodney a little bit more than I did Mitch because Mitch was younger. Mm-hmm. But Mitch was great, right? and being able to depend on that guy when that slide's coming to you, right? I know if I got somebody that's stout in there, that's going to be physical, that's going to bring a little bit of force, that's going to slow. It's like if you're playing like a fighting game and there's a health bar, right? I'm serious. Like the more shots you can take and wear that guy down, the easier job's going to be throughout the day. So when I got a guy next to me like a Mitch Morris or a Rodney Hudson or a Creed Humphrey that is going to take the opportunity when he's uncovered to come over and help, and not only just put his hands on him, he's going to make him feel it, right? He's going to think second. He's going to think about going inside. So now he becomes one-dimensional, right? I know he's not going to go inside because he doesn't want to get hit by Creed, right? He don't want to get hit by Rodney or Mitch. So now that helps me, right? Now I know exactly what I'm going to get. He's going to play up the field. He's going to try to play half a man. He's not going to think about going inside. So having a good guy next to you helps, and especially in the run game too, you can move guys that are physical. Helps you get to the second level faster. It creates bigger holes, more opportunity. Having somebody that's good next to you, you're only as strong as your weakest link. What makes an offensive line great? It's one unit. Everybody has to be on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely. DG and CJ, we talked about this. We saw one of the training camp clips, and we saw Creed and Kingsley combine on a little duo block, and he climbed up to that second level and got Drew Tranquil on that inside run. So it's good to obviously see them play off of each other. And you mentioned obviously kind of in imposing your will force aspect of it. We see Trey Smith always pick off defensive ends that are spinning back off of Jawan Taylor and get him with those rib shots, and that makes him a little bit wary on being able to use that spin move a lot often. Throughout a game as well, if they see Trey Smith coming in there for a nice shot as well. DG, CJ, did you have anything you wanted to ask Jeff Allen before I get to my fun question to end this off?
Are we going to the fun questions now?
It's up to you. Go ahead.
I got a serious question before we get
Okay, go ahead.
My serious question, Jeff. Obviously, we play a lot of good defense this year. We have one of the toughest schedules in the league every year. Out of all the units, which one do you think is going to be the toughest for us from like a defensive line, overall defense standpoint?
Yes.
Which unit's going to be the toughest? I think it's going to be the D line. I think they have a lot of depth, and I think this the way, just from a personnel standpoint, the athletes that we have. I feel like Spags is going to move these guys around a lot. There's going to be a lot of stunning. There's going to be a lot of different games that they play, and they're going to get in the backfield. They're going to live in the backfield. And I think as long as those linebackers can play off of them, we're going to be really good in the run game.
Absolutely. Me too.
And we're going to get after the passer too.
We need it, boy. We need to.
Absolutely. We sure do. I'll ask my question first because I got two. So I'll ask my question. I'll go to DG and I'll come back. So first quick question. We asked Danny Hughes when we had him on, and he had a row of jerseys as well. I got to ask you, what's your favorite jersey that you got hung up behind you with some of those guys back there?
My favorite that I got hung up? Oh, man, you put me on the spot, man. I love them all, man. They all I'm serious, man. Every single one of them means something to me. I mean, I got Donald Stevenson, who I played next to in Kansas City for a little bit. Same Rodney Hudson played next to him for a couple years. Eric Fisher. All these guys to the left were college roommates at one point at University of Illinois with me. Combine roommate. I can't tell you who my favorite is. My favorite probably would be, man, that's tough. I'm gonna say Whitney because he took care of a bunch of stuff at his wedding. I got to go to Italy because of him. Thank you, Whitney.
That's tough.
I appreciate that, man. No, but I mean, I had a lot of great teammates, man. It's hard, and that's the part you miss most about it. I don't miss St. Joe. I don't miss training camp at all. Like I miss the locker room and I miss game day. That's the only two things that I miss. And so that's what makes football special, man. It's the relationships that you build. These are your brothers for life. And I got a bunch of other jerseys over here too that you can see. So
Absolutely. That's awesome. Go ahead, DG.
Yeah, I got two. I guess mine is a two-part question. So I would say, Jeff, 2015, you're part of one of my favorite Chiefs teams of all time. 2015 was started off as a tragic year.
Yeah.
It ended up being a great year. So my first part of that question is what happened in that locker room at that point in time that made that change for you guys after going 1-5? And then my other part of the question would be, what was your welcome to the NFL moment?
Well, I'm going for the 2015 first. Well, I was hurt the first 4 weeks. That's why. No, I'm just. No. I'm not taking the credit, man.
No, talk that, Jim.
He said, talk that.
Hey, we started with
Talk a little bit. Hey, man.
Look, I just know I came in. We were undefeated, man. That's all. But seriously, I think we realized that we weren't far off. I mean, there were really small things, and that's this league, man. The margin for error is so thin. I mean, any given Sunday is a real statement. It doesn't matter who you're playing. If you aren't on your game, you will lose. And I think that first, I think those 4 games that we lost, I don't even know what the scores were. I know they were close games. We just weren't clicking. We were making simple mistakes. A lot of it were controllables, and we knew that. We didn't panic. We come into the meetings and we were like, you know what? If we do this, this, and this, we'll have success. And if we don't, we'll all be at home and there'll be new guys here. So figure it out, and we did. So
yeah, I think the second part was, what was your welcome to the NFL moment?
My welcome to the NFL moment. I mean, it's a pretty funny moment. So my rookie year, I didn't start. So the first game I didn't start. I think we played New Orleans the second game. Rodney Hudson breaks his leg. I come in and I'm playing Cedric Ellis. Cedric Ellis went to USC. He was All-American. During my day, that was a guy that you looked at like, oh, man, this guy's unbelievable. Great player, right? And I had an unbelievable game, like three quarters, right? Unbelievable game. Felt really good about it. I was like, I could play in this league. This is nothing. Right? It's the same. My first play, if you go look at it, my first NFL play at guard, Jamal scored like an 80-yard touchdown. It was on the outside zone right on my side. That was my first play, right? So I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, I can do this. The next week we played the Chargers. And you see this guy right here, Corey Legit, college teammate. We're playing him in Kansas City. He comes to town. We go to lunch. No, it's my boy. Right? It's my boy. Right? It's my boy, man. We cool. I get to the game, and I don't know if it was a mental thing. I don't know if we going brother-in-law it. He whooped my ass, bro. He had a sack. He had like 4 pressures. I'm like, man, this is crazy.
I'll take you to dinner.
I'll take you to dinner. So that was my wake. That was one of my welcome to the NFL moments. And then the next week we played Oakland or something like that. And it was Richard Seymour and Tommy Kelly. And they look like avatars. They 6'7", 6'8". And I just remember, and I talked a lot of crap. I don't know what gave me so much confidence, but I did talk a lot. And I'm talking crazy to him. And we ran an inside zone. And I'm getting some movement on him. And all of a sudden, I feel Tommy Kelly pushing me from the side, and Richard Seymour lifts me up and puts me on my back. And they both stand over me. They both standing over me, looking at me, kicking dirt, all type of stuff. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's different.
That's
I got one follow-up question.
Go ahead.
For historical purposes, Jeff, since you were here, what are like your thoughts? I know you pretty much know everything about it. What are your thoughts and feelings about Arrowhead potentially moving to the other part of the city? And if we do get a new Arrowhead and they don't decide to renovate it, what's going to be like the one probably thing you're going to miss about it if we do have to have a new stadium in Kansas City?
I don't like the move at all. I think it should stay where it is. The Royals are already moving, so now it's the Kansas City Chiefs playground. Like make it for Kansas City Chiefs, man. Don't move. Don't go to Kansas. I don't know what they're thinking about. I think this is where it needs to be.
To the soil.
Amen.
I've been able to experience tailgates there as a fan.
Yeah,
it's one of the most unique experiences that I've ever had. The fandom is unbelievable. The people, it's some of the nicest people. Like, right? Some people that may not even recognize me, they invite me to the tailgate. Like, come get some barbecue. I don't know. I'm sure they'll travel, but I don't think it'll be the same. As far as renovating it, it definitely needs an update. That's for sure. But I don't like the idea of a dome. I do like the advantage of playing in December and January in our elements and being used to it and having an advantage. But I don't know what they can do from a renovation standpoint. I think they can add more seats, make it a little bit more luxury maybe. But I don't think they should move the stadium. That's just my honest opinion.
I agree.
Yeah.
Sure.
We all got an affinity for Arrowhead as far as that's concerned. And you talk about obviously the elements. CJ and I were crazy enough to go out there at that Miami Dolphins
He
home
lied. Jeff. I
playoff
went
game
inside. I
there.
went in the suite, baby.
Freezing up outside.
Y'all went out there. Y'all, this cool, Jeff.
Seconds, I
Them
went
cool.
straight to the suite.
Yeah,
It
y'all-
was, I
I
enjoyed
went
it.
in
It
the
was a
suite,
unique
Jeff.
experience, man.
I wasn't out there.
And I tell you what, Dolphins wanted no parts of that game. I tell you from the start.
You weren't one of those people with your shirt off.
No, God, no.
all
I'm
right,
smart.
cool.
No.
All
I
right,
had
sure, man. That was
I had
crazy.
about 6 layers on for sure. For
For
sure.
Boy,
I was making sure I was good and layered up. So to wrap this up, I got a question. Who is the funniest? Because obviously you spend the most time with offensive line guys. So who's the funniest offensive lineman that you played with, and the funniest non-offensive lineman that you played with?
Dang, that's good. Funniest offensive lineman that I played with. I would probably say, honestly, I would say Mitch Schwartz, and he wasn't trying to be funny. He just was funny to me. No, like seriously, he was so cerebral and he was so smart that he was just like so disgusted if someone didn't see things the way that he saw it. like you don't get that? I'm like, and I would just be dying. Like, come on, man, this kid's a rookie. Chill out.
he dead serious.
Yeah. And funny is non-offensive lineman. It's a lot of funny dudes, man. I'm gonna say Sharkandrick West. That probably was the funniest non-offensive lineman that I played. But he was hilarious. Where he was one of those guys that every locker room needs, right? When it's hard times, good something, no matter when you need a good laugh, he was there to provide it. So I appreciate that.
Shout out to Shark, man. Friend of Kingdom Cast, happy to have West on for sure. But funny you said that about Mitch. Obviously, Mitch is doing a lot of stuff over there, athletic, and definitely the way that he speaks about the game. That makes perfect sense.
You can see with his tweets, like that is Mitch. That was Mitch. Coaches, players, it didn't matter who. And I was just like, yo, dude, you're a funny guy, man. You're funny.
Was he that passionate about food when y'all played, Jeff? Like,
yes,
y'all over
yes,
all that?
he's an excellent cook. Yeah, probably one of the best steaks I ever had was at his house. For real. But he's a funny dude, man. Like,
I fully believe it. Obligatory before we get out of here. Favorite barbecue in Kansas City?
Come on, bro. Why are you trying to start a war? Like, why are you trying to? You should have asked me Texas barbecue or Kansas City barbecue. I live in Texas, you know.
I don't want to start a real war. I'm trying to start a fun war.
I'm trying to. It just depends on what you want to get. I think I got favorite. I got a different favorite. Like my favorite ribs are probably gonna be a slaps in KCK. Very underrated. A lot of people. I like Gates. A lot of people, will choose that, but they complain about the customer service. But I'm used to that, man. I think it's love when I walk in.
That is love. I feel right at home.
I think that's love, you know. What you want?
Food if they not
yeah. Like you. I think, man. I mean, you got Joe's Barbecue, Oklahoma Joe's. I still call it that. You want a sandwich? I probably would go there. Sit down place. I mean, Jack Stack was my go-to. Then Q39 came toward the end of my time there. That was good too. It's just so much good barbecue. I think from a quantity and quality standpoint, Kansas City has both. I mean, you can't go many places and get bad barbecue there. Texas is a little bit different. They got some really good spots, and then they got some spots that are not so good. So if I had to pick between there, Kansas City and Texas, I would choose Kansas City.
That's what I love.
That's a true statement. That's a true statement. The sauce, man.
For sure. Absolutely separated. Jeff, this was awesome, specifically to talk about the trenches, but obviously overall, I have a little fun with you. I appreciate you coming back on Kingdom Cast. We will make sure that it's not a 3-year wait between the next time that we have.
Yeah. Just let me know, man. I got a little bit more free time now, so
absolutely.
I'm happy to be on. Appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely. Hope you have a great rest of your day, man. For everybody else, appreciate you guys for coming back to Tell the Truth. We're back live Tuesday at 7 p.m. again. We'll also have Kingdom Cast tomorrow night as well, and be on the lookout for us as well as we cover Chiefs camp, man. Appreciate you guys for coming by. Peace out. Go Chiefs.
Chiefs.